Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video breakdown. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on a brand new sort of featurette, not really a trailer, but AMC has posted a YouTube video in their channel, and they've called it a look at the final episodes of Season 5 for The Walking Dead. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Links in the description. Let's break it down. Break it down. Alright, so go ahead and click the link in the description. You guys can check it out yourselves, and then leave this one open in a tab, and then you can come back and watch my breakdown of it afterwards. I also want to post these to let people know in the channel that there's new content coming out from The Walking Dead. Anytime I see something new, I will post a video on it, let you guys know, those of you who subscribe, so that you can go ahead and check it out yourselves as well too. If you didn't catch it, you didn't know about it, news or whatever the case may be. So this is a cool one because you get to at least hear them talk about what we can expect to see in the second half, but they do it always kind of vaguely, right? They don't want to give away too much in terms of details. They know that no matter what they say, we're going to read into it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. But they don't really get into too much details. A lot of what they say is very, very vague. So let's break down each thing each one says, and I'll kind of give my thoughts on each. So you have, first off, Chad Coleman as Tyrese, of course, plays Tyrese. By the way, he's got another project coming up. He's got another show he's working on, so I may discuss that in a video. But yeah, he could be, if you guys have seen my death predictions video, if you haven't, by the way, click the channel name and just type in death predictions. You'll find it for second half of season 5. He's on my likely list. Tyrese is at the top of my likely list, and he's got another show he's shooting. That said, Norman Reedus did shoot an additional 2 things this summer while he was shooting The Walking Dead. So just because they're working on something else doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be killed off. However, like he says, they're going to go through even more hell. Which, I mean, yeah, it's The Walking Dead. It's like saying, I don't know, yeah, it's going to be dark. Yeah, it's going to be, it's The Walking Dead. That's what it is. It's like you're saying this is this, blue is blue. Okay, great. So yeah, more hell. Yeah, you can expect that. So then we have Scott Gimple, and he talks about a little bit of what we can expect. That it's got an interesting structure, and that they're going to have a huge change of situation. I think what he means by structure is, I think because they don't really have like a set villain, or they don't have like a set, like if you look at the last couple seasons, it's kind of like maybe the second half of season 4, where you don't have like the governor, you don't have Gareth, you don't have Dawn, you don't have like a set human villain all the way through to drive the story. So you have other different things happening, like an illness or like stuff like that. I think that's kind of what he's referring to, is that there's no real definitive like villain here, but we may meet some people on the road, that kind of thing. And he says that they're going to have a change in situation. Well, I think that they're going to find a new place to live, basically, like the prison. They're going to find a place where they can feel relatively safe, where they can sleep at night, and they'll be able to get a good night's rest, not always on the road all the time. Even though I'm sure most of the season, or at least probably the first half of the second half of season 5, we'll see them on the road traveling, right? And this also relates back to in the promo, which they've also released. I'll also put the link to that in the description too, where Michonne talks about giving the place a shot, basically. Even though it is a risk to try to get there, but it's it might be worth it, and otherwise they're just surviving on their out in the open in a zombie apocalypse. They're just barely hanging on. They've got probably no place to store anything. They have to constantly move. They have to find supplies. It's going to be really tough being on the road like that. So, it's going to be tough for them, to even make it. But if they can find a good place to live like the prison, they can evolve to the next level. They can plant, they can farm, they can store all the things they find. They can, they can fend off zombies on the fences and stuff like that, and a new place where they can do something like that. So that'll be interesting with some more characters and stuff, is what I think we're going to see. Cool, so that's part of what he says right there. Then we go on Norman Reedus. He talks about to them always running from things. Now they're moving towards something. And I think he's talking about, the idea. I think what we're going to get is the idea of a possible safe place from Noah and then the group is going to move towards that after they have a funeral for Beth and everything, and after they, deal with their losses and lick their wounds and everything, right? Especially Maggie and some of the other characters like that. And I'm expecting to see possibly a dark storyline with her just going through a tough time after, of course, losing Beth. Now that she's actually visually seen it and almost being there right before it happened, it's pretty depressing because she gets all the way there and then finally she sees her sister again. She's just been shot maybe 5 or 10 minutes prior to that, so pretty brutal. And they also show the scene again in this, and man, it's sad even when you watch it now. And I also noticed in this clip here that when she falls down crying, when Lauren Cohan falls down crying, Rosita actually puts her hands on her mouth like this. So I didn't notice that before, but I almost think that like her reaction to it is so just traumatic that, I don't know, I can't see clear enough because she's got the hat, but I almost think she probably started crying too. It's just, it's a brutally sad, great acting, and, Lauren Cohan, amazing acting. So I'm sure her sadness and depression won't have any trouble with any kind of, anything feeling unnatural or unreal, especially after, just they're all incredible on the show, and wow, it's sad just to watch it even again, even now, at least for me anyway. So there's that, and also you can hear her, and she's she's English, right? You guys know that. So she talks a little bit. It's like I'm trying to think, does she sound hotter in an American accent or in an English accent? Definitely English. Just putting it out there. Definitely English. Okay, so moving on from there, that comes up in a bit. We also have Andrew Lincoln. He talks about a new direction for the show. It's almost like a new show. And I do like that about The Walking Dead, that in the comic book series is exactly the same thing. That as you go through the story, most of the characters change. Now, you'll have your survivor core, like Rick and the others that are surviving, Michonne and Carl and them, right? But the show feels like a new show because you're getting every season you have different villains, you have different locations, you have a different home in a lot of ways, like first the farm, or the camp and the farm and the prison, and just different spots where we're seeing these characters at, or the church now was a small location, and it just and different environments like Grady and the city, and now we won't see something like that for a while. And then in season 3 you had a lot of woods and Woodbury and the prison and all that, and so it just evolves and changes so much, and the character concentrations change so much. Characters get killed off, and things happen, so that the show and the comic book series, they evolve and they change so much that's why they keep it so fantastically interesting. When I say that I think the season or the series can last 10 to 20 seasons, or at least 10 to 15, people call me crazy, and I'm like, well, if you read the comic book series, I think the comic book series now is as exciting as it was 8 years ago, or more, probably even better now than it was 8 years ago. It just improves all the way through, and you feel more attachment to the different characters that do make it, that do survive all the way through. At least for me, anyway. That's what I think. So I get where he's coming from. That different characters, kind of new show, new direction. Cool. Going on from there, let's see what else we got. You can't go back, Bob. Are they too far gone? Scott Gimple talks about them being a little bit too far gone. Can't go back, Bob. Some people ask me why I keep quoting that. Because it's profound for where they're at in the series. Gimple's an amazing writer, and he always throws in little things like that, like little lines or reoccurring themes or things like that. He's really smart with that. He does a good job. Maybe not on a Breaking Bad level, but he's close. He does a good job. I'd like to see some more of that, a little bit more of that kind of stuff. Pretty awesome. So, them losing their humanity. Andrew Lincoln talks about being brutalized by the world, and, he's good to the people in his group, and he wants to protect them, but then when it comes to others, the world has forced him to be absolutely brutal. You've got Michael Cudlitz, who talks a little bit, but he doesn't sound angry in real life. On the show, it's like I pictured him just being this guy with red hair that's always mad all the time, like just ready to rip somebody apart all the time, right? But in real life, he's actually pretty calm and he's pretty relaxed. And it just threw me through a loop. I'm like, whoa, he can relax, like he's okay, like everything's fine. He's not always upset, because on the TV series, he's always so emotional and angry and everything. It's like he's on juice all the time. Anyway, if you've ever known someone on juice, that's how it's like, just insanely emotional all the time. Anyway, moving on from there. Okay. This is How We Survive. You've got the actress who plays Sasha, who, by the way, is pregnant, but I think the timing of the pregnancy worked out so that it didn't interfere with The Walking Dead. I'm pretty sure anyway, because I think she's like eight months as of the finale, so she's probably getting pretty close now, actually, to delivering. So that'll be good, because then she can deliver between seasons, and if she survives, if the character makes it, which looks like she might, or she probably will, then, she can come back and film again later. That's if she survives all the way through. We'll have to see. And that's pretty much all we got. We did get one of the actor who plays, I think it's Josh McDermott or whatever, Eugene, and how's he going to fit into the group? Well, he's still very useful, right? He's still super smart. He might not be great at killing walkers, but he's got the brains, and he's got some really good practical, I don't want to say common sense, but kind of mechanical sense that he can build things and he can do things and come up with some interesting ideas for things. He's useful to have, in almost any circumstance. He's like if you're in like a battle or a war, like for example World War II or something. You have like scientists, he's kind of like your low level, zombie apocalypse type mechanic guy of coming up with some interesting things that you could use if you have to go to war or you have to defend yourself or you have to deal with zombies and stuff all the time. So yeah, it looks like the second half, they say it's going to be dark and sad. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I like dark and sad. I enjoy that. It's good. I like being depressed. Why not? Yeah, so that's pretty much everything that we got in. It's only 2.5 minutes, so there's about 10 or 11 minutes of me breaking it down, giving my thoughts on everything they say, reading into it as much as possible. Also, there's one with the executive producer. I didn't write down her name. She's always in there. Denise, I think. Denise Huth or something like that. And she talks about them and, the human spirit and surviving and all that. So I think she might be referring to Maggie, actually. You can look into that if you want to. If you don't, then don't. But if you've read the comic book series, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain. And yeah, that's it for my breakdown, guys. So I hope you liked it. I hope you found it maybe informative or you'd like to hear my thoughts on it. I try to do these every time they release something new just to give you a little bit more insight than what you get in the video. Maybe read between the lines of things that you might not know unless you're as big of a Walking Dead geek as I am, which I know some of you are, and maybe even more so in some cases, yeah. So if you guys like this quick little breakdown, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, you know what to do. Please share it. If you've got a Facebook or Google+, you wouldn't mind clicking the sharing it through with your friends. I would appreciate it. It really means a lot. Helps the channel grow and everything like that and the health of the channel. So thank you guys as always. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, you want to subscribe, it's real easy. Just click the button, create an account if you don't have one. It takes like 5 minutes. And you'll get these videos daily in your subscriber feed. Got a couple coming for you guys pretty soon. Going to do my top 10 favorite episodes of the series so far. That'll be coming up in a few days. Got some other quick ones. And yeah, that's it for today's topic, guys. See you tomorrow for another Walking Dead discussion topic video. As always, it's Trev. Say peace.